Oh. Welcome to Meaningful Mornings. I was listening to a report on COVAX, which I'm sure many of you know about. I want to read to you a brief portion from what I had read. Please, here we go. There's one statistic that I think sets this in really stark relief, which is that there have been more booster shots given out in highly developed countries than the total number of vaccine doses given in low-income countries since the start of the pandemic. What does that tell you? Please share in the chat. What does that tell you about COVAX? What does that tell you about governments? Any reflections? We live in a very unequal world, unequal distribution. We are privileged. There is selfishness. My observation from this accurate, factual report is that COVAX, governments, the world, they lack community. Even though this word is used often, community, the world community, the medical community, they're interpreting this to be technical instead of philosophical. The philosophical meaning of community is to come to unity, as we aspire to do. Our entire 100 Steps to Infinity course is to evolve from technicalities, which makes one scholarly, to tuning into the philosophy, which makes one a seeker. Keep this thought in your heart, because today's verse very much exemplifies this. And for those who are reflecting on the quarter I shared yesterday in the happiness series, Sadbhave, Sadhubhave, the one who feels infinity treats all as infinity. In infinity, there is no inequality. In chapter 4, and we are preparing for the completion of chapter 4, which is epic and sad. This is a good sadness. Verses 16 to 18, Sri Krishna is analyzing what determines a verb. It is more than movement. What determines a verb? The word he uses is action. In verses 19 to 23, what determines a verb is the vision of knowing. The vision of knowing. Those who know who they are being. Those who have forgotten who they feel they are the doer. Those who have forgotten even more, they feel they're the deserver. It is vision that determines a verb. In verses 24 to 30, practices are given. To practice what? To have this vision of knowing in all of the verbs we're engaged in. 12 verbs are suggested. and I unknowingly said, dot, dot, dot. Like we wait for someone to text us back, dot, dot, dot. This is much more meaningful. In verses 31 to 33, the one who practices this vision of knowing perfection is what they will feel. They will feel a perfect existence, awareness, joy. Practice makes perfect, no? And in verse 34, the vital piece, the vital part to make our practice efficient, to reach perfection effectively is shared, and that is a guide. One who is a role model, one who knows us more than we know ourselves. In the happiness series I shared, a guide has more faith in us than we do. The relationship we should have with our guide starts with shravana, or active listening. It's too bad that back in the day, shravana was defined as listening. Now we have to qualify it by active listening, correct? How our standards have been reduced. Active listening. This active listening begins with yourself. I'd asked everyone yesterday in the workshop, are you proud of your lifestyle? And many had their hands up. Then I asked, would your guide be proud of your lifestyle? Then it went into one of these. Because I'm asking you to listen to yourself more actively. And when you listen to yourself, you come to accept that you need help. And then what does one do? Prostrate. I'd read a lovely insight about prostrating. Imagine the one you're prostrating to is the sun with a U, or a source of light. When you stand straight up to them, there's a shadow that's as long as you are, longer, correct? That's the ego. And the more you prostrate, what happens to that ego? It becomes smaller until there is no ego. It's a lovely idea or reminder of prostrating. This triggers active reflecting. Pariprashnena. If you don't have clarity of your question, you will not have clarity when the answer is shared. In most cases, my observation is when a seeker asks a question, the answer is given, but the seeker feels the answer I didn't understand or it was confusing. And that's assigned to the answerer instead of the questioner. That's what the ego does. It deflects, correct? But if you have reflected on this intensely, you have clarity of the question so that when the answer comes, there will be clarity with that also. I remember when studying Vivekachudamani, that part of the teachings were that one does not even talk in front of or with their guide unless they get permission to. So it would be like me asking, Puja Guruji, may I ask a question? And naturally, if I ask like that, he's not going to say no. But see how urgent all of our asking is, which means we've not reflected on it. And these questions initially may be about living. What job should I take up? Help me with my children. But finally, these questions should be about life, existence, awareness, joy. And the final part, sevaya, from shravana to manana to nididhyasana, which is active contemplating. This means that you're contemplating on this not just in a controlled environment, but in an uncontrolled environment too. And that's why in different forums I define nididhyasana as practice. It is active practicing of what you listen to, what you reflected on. When we serve our guide, we tune in to her, to him. Serving is a tuning. Whatever vision they have, we start to see the same. This practice in the ashram will help one to practice outside of the ashram, and practice makes perfect. Upadekshanti te jnanam. When you have such a bhava, such a feeling with your guide, in regards to that knowledge, jnaninas tattva darshinaha, they have such a vision and they will guide you in this vision. I'm not just sharing this scripturally, which I am. I don't mean that disrespectfully, but I'm sharing this experientially also. Now, many may be thinking, how does one identify their guide? You should look for nishta, that is their experience, and shrotriya, they're communicative. They can communicate their experience so that this can become your experience. If they're just experienced but not communicative, that can't help you. If they're just communicative but no experience, that will harm you. They have to be experienced and communicative. We continue to verse 35. A lot I shared about coming to unity and seeing, that's emphasized in this verse. Yajñatva na punar moham evam yasyasi pandava yena bhutan yasheshena drakshasyatmanyato mayi. Yat nyatva, knowing which, having this vision, na punar moha, one will not experience moha again. Moha means confusion. Moha, more deeply, means attachment. This is the first struggle Prince Arjuna is going through, which then causes fear and sorrow. But if there's no moha, that means no fear, no sorrow. Yajñatva na punar moham evam yasyasi pandava. Prince Arjuna, this, as in your moha, will never come back. As we reflect on this, the implication of this first line is that what you're doing, what we're doing, is the best investment. All of our other investments, we have to put it in, but then you have to keep putting it in because it goes away. Correct? Eating is like that. Exercising is like that. Cleaning is like that. Relationships are like that. Your degrees are like that. You have to keep learning more about information technology. This is the best investment. Once you know, you know. And so if you want to practice this, this should be your sole investment. All day, every day, this is what you practice, this vision in all of your verbs. Yena bhutani, this vision, bhutani, beings. Which beings? Asheshena means all beings. Humans, animals, plants, stones, people you like, people you dislike. Drakshasi, you will see. Where will you see them? Because we're all thinking I see them all the time, especially in meaningful mornings. Where will you see them? Atmani, Can you point to me where Atmani is? In you. You will see, not with your eyes, but you will feel all beings in you, which really means you will feel all beings are you. What will your relationship with all beings be then? Yesterday I asked you, yesterday's workshop, who do you fear the least? And you all pointed to yourself. If you see all beings as you, one will never have any sadness, anxiety, stress. And Sri Krishna just takes this teaching to a new level. Atha Mai. You will see all beings in you, and you will see all beings in who's Mai? That's Sri Krishna. Therefore, just like you prove congruent triangle, side angle side, if I see all beings in me, and those same beings are in Sri Krishna, that means I am Sri Krishna. You are also. Asheshena means all of us. I am Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna is I. Sat. Infinity. This is not educational. This is factual. Lots to reflect on. I will share marginally more on this verse and we will continue. The completion of chapter 4 is indescribably powerful, with such a magnification on this vision and how all of us, irrespective of your past, some of us may feel we're the worst person. I assure you, you're not. But if you do feel that, still Sri Krishna has a place, has love, has hope for you. That's how this chapter is completed. From inspiration to application, your application was to be part of the happiness series, which I know many of you were. The recording for the happiness series is on Chinmay Mission Niagara's YouTube channel, and this will be released on January 1st. This is a great New Year's gift. I felt this was one of the most practical workshops I've ever facilitated. And I've been doing this for 14 years. Your application for this morning, and really this is a 10-day application. Bhagavad Gita's birthday is coming up. It is Tuesday, December 14th. You have had a strong relationship with Bhagavad Gita this entire year. We're approaching completing more than 200 verses. Prepare for her birthday party. We do so much for ours. Shift it to hers, okay? Shanti, Shanti, Shantihi. Be safe, be sound, be serene, be happiness.